The objective of this exercise is to practice modeling walls that are at different angles. Open the file you've been working on, or open the file called Chapter 3 and follow along. Here's what we're going to be working on. It's a corridor with a building appended to the end of it. Notice that there's a radial wall in the back and that we've got some funky angles over here. If I go to Level 1 Floor Plan, this is what it looks like in Floor Plan. Notice that we're following along with the reference planes and we're laying it out accurately. Let's zoom in on this reference plane here. And let's start to draw a wall. Select the wall that's sitting there, right-click, and create similar. Make sure the location line is set for Finish Face Exterior. It should be by default. And make sure basic wall exterior brick and CMU on metal stud is in your properties. Let's start by zooming in close to this wall, and we're going to pick this intersection. Don't pick this intersection, but pick that intersection. Once you see the intersection snap show up, go ahead and pick the wall. Already we're in trouble. The wall's going in the wrong direction. You can fix that by simply hitting your spacebar to flip it down. Moving in this direction, I want a wall that's 25 feet long. So I'm going to move till I get close to 25 feet, and I'm just going to type in 25 and hit enter. The next thing I'm going to do is draw this wall up at a 45-degree angle, or 135, whichever Revit's telling you. And I want to make it flush with the outside wall here. What you'll see are two extension lines that show up, one at the top of the wall and one going along the angle of the wall we're drawing. Once you see these two extension lines hit and it says 135 degrees, go ahead and pick that point. With the chain button still on, let's draw a line this way that's 25 feet. Notice if I zoom out, it will actually track itself back to the original wall. Revit understands symmetry, and that's going to help a lot. Type in 25 and hit enter. Now what I want to do is draw a wall up that's 25 feet. So let's go up. You can either eyeball it or you can type in 25, whatever you're most comfortable with. Let's move the wall in this direction. Let's come all the way down 80 feet. Let's go with the familiar dimension of 25. The next item is actually going to be an arced wall. With the wall command still running and the chain button still checked on the draw panel, go ahead and click Start End Radius Arc. Notice that you're going to have to hit the spacebar again and bring your wall down 25 feet and then hit enter. Now just move your cursor to the right inside of the building and wait for Revit to snap that geometry. Once it snaps your wall into place, go ahead and pick that spot. On the draw panel, click your line button again, hit your spacebar to flip your wall, and let's come down 25 feet again. Let's move our cursor in this direction, and let's go 80 feet. Or, remember, you can just snap to the wall as it projects down. Move your cursor up 25 feet and hit enter. Now hit escape a couple times. Good job. The next challenge is to get some walls down here. What we're going to do is actually use a function that's built in called offset. You've probably heard of this before, but Revit has a really strange way of dealing with it that I kind of like. Right-click on this wall here and go to Create Similar. On the Draw panel, click the Pick Lines button. Right here on the options bar where you see offset, type in 30. And what I want to do is move up to this wall a little closer. Hover your mouse over the outside face of it. Notice that we get the same familiar temporary reference line just below it. Once you see that reference line, go ahead and pick the wall. With the Pick Lines button still pressed and 30 feet still in the offset, let's offset this 45-degree wall down 30 feet as well. Hit escape a couple times, and let's look at the mirror command again. The objective here is to get this wall down here mirrored, but since we have a reference plane to work with, it's going to be so much easier. Go ahead and click this line. On the Modify panel, on the Modify Walls tab, you'll see Mirror Pick Axis. Go ahead and click that button, or if you see in parentheses it says MM, you could type MM too, but just realize that in Revit, you have to select the object first, then execute the command second. To mirror this wall, just go ahead and pick this line right here. It mirrors it. That's so easy now that we can just pick that reference plane and we know it's going to be symmetrical. Hit escape a couple times and let's look at one more command. That's the trim command. Go to the Modify tab. You notice you have a Modify panel. Right here is the Trim Extent to Corner button. This is a great button. Go ahead and click that, or as you can see in parentheses, you could type TR for trim. Revit's a little bit funny how this works. The rule is, if I want to clean up this corner and get rid of this little nubbin, all I have to do is select this wall here and this wall here. I have to select the parts of the wall that I want to keep. I'm going to do the same over here. This is extraneous, this is extraneous. What I'm going to do is select this wall here. I'm going to select this wall here. It cleans it right up. I'll do the same for the bottom. It'll trim or extend. I'm going to select this wall here. Even when I hover over this, you're going to see that temporary extension line show up. Once you see that, pick it, and you're clean. Hit escape a couple times. Let's draw one more set of walls. Let's zoom out and come over to this area here, the south side. What we're going to do now is draw a U-shaped unit here. To do that, go ahead and right-click on this wall and go to Create Similar. In the Draw panel, make sure the Line button is still checked, and for the offset, let's type in 15. What could help is if we change the detail level back to Coarse. Just remember to turn it back to Fine before you print. What I want to do is I want to zoom in close to this wall, and I want to find the midpoint. If you can't find the midpoint, type SM. All of a sudden, you can locate the midpoint and you should see a little purple tooltip show up. Once you see this tooltip, go ahead and pick that point and move your cursor straight down the wall. Notice that it's drawing it at a 15-foot offset, which is exactly what we want. Move your cursor down to 25 feet. Once you see that, go ahead and pick it. Move your cursor right back up into the wall until you see 25 feet, and then select the wall. The next objective is to draw a wall straight across here. Go ahead and right-click on this wall and go to Create Similar. Let's zoom in on the front of it and pick a point right here, the end point. Not the ledge below, but the end point of the wall. Once you see the endpoint snap show up, pick it. Move your crosshairs in this direction. Notice that we need to hit the spacebar again to flip the wall into the correct direction. What I want you to do is pick the end of this wall right here. Hit escape a couple times, you're all set. Let's set our detail level back to Fine. Notice how Revit cleans the wall joins up very nicely for us. Let's do one more thing before we finish. I never trust myself. So what I want to do is, on the Quick Access toolbar, we'll see a little icon here, Measure Between Two References. Use this and use this often. Go ahead and click that button. Let's zoom in on the outside face of this wall and select it. You'll know you have it selected when you see that little temporary line show up. Once you see the temporary line, click it. Come all the way over to this side, zoom in, and pick it. If your total length is 30 feet, you're right on the money. Hit escape a couple times, type ZA to zoom all. Hopefully your building looks like this. If not, keep trying, because that was a lot of work. The good thing is you're probably getting the hang of adding walls in a precise manner. This is certainly a skill you're going to need.